If you've enjoyed the video so far, please consider subscribing. Most of you who are watching right now are not actually subscribed to the channel, so please take a second to do that. I really do appreciate it. Buckle up for today, Wednesday, September 8th. We have a lot of legendary creatures and a lot of powerful potential for commander options here. So going over the first cards here, we have Suspicious Stowaway. This is a 2-mana human rogue werewolf. It can't be blocked. I think this is the first time we're actually getting a blue werewolf. Whenever Suspicious Stowaway deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. Has daybound, so then when it flips, it becomes Seafaring Werewolf. It also can't be blocked, and whenever Seafaring Werewolf deals combat damage to a player, you just draw a card. You don't have to discard. And it has Nightbound, so that's how these creatures flip if you were not aware. Daybound and Nightbound are just board conditions. There's no special condition that this creature alone has to meet. And then we have Sigard Splendor, 4-mana white enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, note your life total. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if your life total is greater than or equal to the last noted life total for Sigard Splendor. Then note your life total. Whenever you cast a white spell, you gain 1 life. This is incredible. Any kind of card draw in white, I've said this before, I say this all the time. You should just include it. I mean, most mono white decks are good at gaining life, so this is close enough to being a white Phyrexian arena, but it also offers you a way to gain some life. And then we have our first legendary creature here in Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. 5-mana blue legendary human wizard, a mythic. Spells can't be countered. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. Oh boy, we got one of those blue cards again. That's likely going to make it a headache to have to play Magic the Gathering, but very interesting with the flashback. I think it's going to make a decent commander option, of course. Don't even have to be focused on flashback. You just take what was good about something like Snapcaster Mage and say, you know what, screw it, you can do it for every other instant and sorcery in your graveyard. And oh yeah, your opponents can't really do anything about it. And then we have Sludgerk, the Overslime. 3-mana green-blue legendary ooze with trample. Whenever a land card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on Sludgerk. Remove 3 +1/+1 counters from Sludgerk, return it to its owner's hand, and when Sludgerk leaves the battlefield, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. So you know I'm all about this. I love cards with several abilities. I love cards that can protect themselves. And the commander potential here I think is pretty decent. There are some good land strategies already present in green and blue. The only downside here is that you don't have a card draw engine like you do in something like Tatyova. Still a really cool commander option nevertheless. And then we have Vadric, Astral Archmage. 3-mana blue-red legendary human wizard. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Vadric, Astral Archmage enters the battlefield. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is Vadric's power. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, put a +1/+1 counter on Vadric. So really cool. This is the first commander option where you're actually focusing on day and night. I think this would be a really cool commander deck. Of course, day and night is going to be more powerful if you have cards with daybound and nightbound, but you get a really cool condition here where you get to cast your spells for a lot cheaper if Vadric's power is increased because you're constantly switching between night and day. And then we get the return of Ludvik. We get Ludvik, Necrogenius. I think last time around, going back to Shadows over Innistrad, people were disappointed because this was such a big character before, and to not really get what they feel is the appropriate Ludvik was kind of a letdown, but you did get him in Commander 2016, he just wasn't very powerful. Whenever Ludvik Necrogenius enters the battlefield or attacks, you mill a card, and an activated ability of X, 2 blue and 2 black. Exile X creature cards from your graveyard, transform Ludvik Necrogenius. X can't be 0, and you activate only at sorcery. He flips into Olag Ludvik's Hubris. When Olag Ludvik's Hubris transforms, it becomes a copy of one of the creature cards exiled, except this card's name is Olag Ludvik's Hubris. The power and toughness is 4/4, and it's a blue and black legendary zombie. You put a +1/+1 counter on it for each exiled card. So this is kind of a combination between things like Lazav, the Multifarious, and the Scarab God. Easily bringing back creatures, easily making a copy of a creature that you've exiled, all backed up by the mill mechanic. So this is going to be a fun commander option, no doubt. If you've loved playing with those commanders, I really do think this is going to be one of the more exciting ones to build around and figure out exactly how to take advantage of them. And then we have Carolus, Stalwart Slayer. A 3-mana red-white Legendary Human Knight. Flying and Haste. If a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, prevent that damage. If a spell would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, deals that much damage +1 instead. So this is insane. I feel like we've had a ton of cards like this where you can easily manipulate the damage dealt to your creatures. You can make pretty much something like a Blasphemous Act a one-sided board wipe, something like a Chain Reaction too. That's nice, I love that. We get Katilda, Dawnheart Head Witch, a green-white legendary human warlock with protection from werewolves. Creatures you control have tap to add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors, and you can pay 6 mana in tap to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I really just want Wizards of the Coast to make it a witch creature type, because all these human warlocks, I feel like that's going to be what they do in the end. They just errata certain creatures to be witches. And then we get Sigard's Savior, a 5 mana white angel with flying, a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return up to 2 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I don't know how I feel about this being a mythic. In my opinion, I think something like Revulark is a bit stronger and it actually gives you more to choose from. Mana value 2 or less, while you do get some good creatures, this is also dependent on if you cast it, which I don't know why they didn't just make it a cast trigger, but something that's no doubt going to be powerful and limited. Just a little disappointed in this mythic. But anyway, let me know what you think about these spoilers, these awesome legendary creatures. Innistrad Midnight Hunt looks like it's going to be a pretty good set. Thanks for watching, I will see you all next time.